Now, if you've ever watched a hip hop DJ perform a set and thought to yourself, how did they plan that? And how did they put that set together? Well, in this video, I've put together a 2000s hip hop mix, and I'm going to break down my entire process. How I found the tracks, how I made the transitions, how I prepped the tracks, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the full set. My name is DJ Blakey and I'm a DMC champion. Let's get into it. Now, in my opinion, the 2000s was a great era for club hip-hop music. A lot of these tracks were perfect for DJs to play in their club sets. So the first thing we need to do is find the music for today's set. Now, here in Serato, you can see on the left-hand side that I am logged in to Tidal. I really like using streaming services inside my DJ software because it just gives me access to every track that's out there. And Tidal is what we're going to use today. But you could use SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify. But for me, the reason I choose Tidal is because you can still use stems inside Serato with all of the tracks. So for me, this is a no-brainer. Tidal is my #1 choice. You can also use stems with BeatSource, which is great for hip hop and open format. And you can use stems with Beatport, which is perfect for dance music DJs. Now, if you take a look on the left-hand side, you can actually see all of the different albums that I've saved inside my Tidal account. And then if I scroll down some more to playlists, these are all of the Tidal playlists that I've saved to my Tidal account. And I actually do this on my phone. I open up the Tidal app on my phone and I save different playlists that I want inside my Serato. And then the next time I log into Serato, those playlists are there. So you can see right here, there is a playlist called 2000s Hip Hop Hits, and this is going to be perfect for today's mix. So now if we take a look at this 2000s Hip Hop Hits playlist that Tidal made, you can see that I've currently got this playlist sorted by BPM. And I always like to have the lowest BPM at the top, and then if I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the BPM is going up, and then down at the bottom, that is the highest BPM track. This is just my preferred way of looking at playlists inside Serato. And to do this, all you need to do is click on the BPM column right here. So now that I've clicked it again, the order has reversed. The highest BPM is at the top and the lowest is at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is make my own playlist in Serato, and I'm going to start adding tracks that I would like to use for this mix to that playlist. So to do that, all I need to do is click on this crate icon right here. And you can see it's made a new crate called Crate 2. Let's call this crate Hip Hop Mix 2000s. And now inside Serato, we can populate this crate with tracks not only from Tidal, but also from my own Serato library. This is actually a new feature in Serato 4.0, and it's great to be able to mix streaming service tracks with tracks that are already in my library. This is a game changer for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this playlist and I'm going to click Favorite Crate. And what that will do is it will put the crate right at the top of my list of playlists. This is another new feature in Serato 4.0, and I use this all the time. So now let's go down to the 2000s hip hop hits, and then let's just take a look through this playlist. And any track I like the look of and think that I might like to use in this mix, I'm just going to drag over to my hip hop mix 2000s crate. So now I'm going to spend the next few minutes going through this playlist and dragging any tracks that I think I might like to use over to that crate. This is always the first step for me. Fill up a crate with tracks that you think you might want to use in that mix, and don't worry at this point about figuring out the transitions and how the tracks are going to go together. Just pick a list of tracks and then I'll show you in a moment where we go from there. Okay, so this right here is the list of tracks that I've chosen for today's mix. And now I'm going to show you how I came up with the transitions between each track, why I've picked them, and how I'm going to make them go together. Now, when it comes to finding music for any DJ set, something I get asked all the time by my students is where do I find music and how do I start to build out my DJ library? And to answer this, I've put together a completely free mini course showing where DJs find music and how they build a library that's going to make their DJ life easier. And if you want to grab that, just hit the link in the description. It's completely free. Okay, so for this mix, the track that I've decided to start my mix with is Public Service Announcement Interlude by Jay-Z. And the reason I've chosen to start the mix with this track is it actually begins with a piece of a cappella, which is perfect for scratching.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I always like to start off a hip hop mix or a hip hop performance with some scratching, and this track is perfect. I'm actually going to mix it over the instrumental version of Keep It Thorough by Prodigy. And I'm going to use Serato stems to take out the vocals. If you're not familiar with stems, this is one of the most game-changing technologies that has ever been released in the DJ industry in my career. Every major DJ software platform on the market now allows you to extract individual stems from any song. In Serato, you can play with the vocal, the melody, the bass, and the drums. Let me show you. So here inside Serato, you can see the 4 different stems that you can play with on the screen. The 4 pads below are what we call stems effects, and I'll get to those in a moment. Now, Serato actually allows you to have a stems pad mode right here. So these 8 pads correspond directly with these 8 pads you see on the screen. So this pad will turn the vocal on and off. This pad will turn the melody on and off. This is the bass, and this is the drums. So let's just quickly play this track, and I'm going to play around with those stems pads to show you what they sound like.
Catch a fucking bullet, nigga. Hey yo, I break bread, ribs. Only for more sales. We used to catch those on the block with cribs. Now it's paid shows. Promoters post up bills. Side deals only if the math.
Now, to get the stems pad mode on your DJ controller, there's one thing we need to do. So inside Serato, head to the settings and then head to the DJ preferences tab. And right here, you'll see a box that says replace primary hardware pad mode with stems. This option will only appear if you're plugged into your DJ hardware. So make sure that that is ticked. And then here, you can choose which pad mode you're going to swap out for the stems pad mode. And I've chosen sampler. So now if we come out of the settings, now on my DDJ Rev 7, if I change the pad mode on both decks to sampler, this is now the stems pad mode. Now let's quickly take a listen to the bottom 4 pads, which are the stems effects. And these pads are what really make using stems super fun and super intuitive.
Yeah, catch a fucking bullet, nigga. Hey yo, I break bread, ribs. The number 4 wheels, write a book full of medicine and generate nails. Tour an album, only for more sales. We used to catch.
During the mix later in this video, I'm going to have call outs on the screen telling you which stems I'm using. So you'll be able to follow along with ease. So after scratching this vocal,
allow me to reintroduce myself
over the instrumental of this track, I'm also going to be using a little bit of reverb on the vocal every time I finish scratching the phrase like this.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
So just having that little bit of reverb at the end of the phrase is just going to make it sound way more clean and way more pro. Now at the end of this vocal, there's another piece of vocal that says my name is, and I'm also going to scratch that piece of vocal.
My name is Ho.
When it comes to scratching phrases like this, there are so many hip-hop tracks out there that begin with a little piece of a cappella. So take a look through your own library of tracks and listen out for those a cappella phrases because they're perfect for scratching. Now, after I scratch in the Jay-Z track like this,
allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho.
I actually need to put the Jay-Z track on this deck because I need to scratch the next track in on this deck. And to do that, you just double tap the load button. And now the same track is playing on both decks at exactly the same speed. So all I need to do is move the crossfader over. And now this deck is free for me to scratch in the next track. This is called instant doubles. I only employ this technique when I want to scratch in the next track on my strong hand, which is left hand on the jog wheel. and right hand on the fader. And I do this a couple of times in this mix. So now with this track playing,
My name is Ho.
I load in the next track. And then what I do is I scratch in the beginning of this Kanye track. After playing that track, I employ instant doubles again so that I get the Kanye track over to this deck, which frees up this deck for me to scratch in the next track, which is actually Snoop's verse on the a cappella version of Drop It Like It's Hot. Now for this, I've actually decided to use the real a cappella rather than using Serato stems. And to be honest with you, this is always preferable. If you have the official a cappella, or you can find it somewhere on the internet, which generally is not that hard to do, then it's always better using the real a cappella. Because while Serato stems is a great tool and often sounds pretty decent, sometimes the a cappella using Serato stems doesn't sound too great. And that actually is the case with the full track of Drop It Like It's Hot. So what I'm using here is the official a cappella, and I'm going to scratch in the beginning of Snoop's verse on this track.
I'm a gangster, but y'all knew that.
And then whilst that a cappella's playing, I'm just going to apply a small amount of 25% reverb just to fill out the a cappella like this.
Ain't no other way to play the game the way I play. I cut so much you thought I was a DJ.
And then whilst that a cappella is playing, I'm going to use reverb to take out the Kanye instrumental on this deck. And then I'm very quickly going to load in 50 Cent and Mobb Deep Out of Control remix. And then scratch it in like that. So this requires you to transition the track really quickly, but with a little bit of practice, this kind of transition is actually easy to do. Practicing this enough will build the muscle memory that makes reverbing the track out and then loading the next one and scratching it in super straightforward. Now, if you want to go even deeper into learning how to mix hip hop, the transitions, the scratches, and all of the skills and techniques that you're about to see in this full mix, then you should check out my full hip hop mixing course. It will teach you everything that I've learned in over 20 years as a pro hip hop DJ and DMC champion. If you want to check it out, then just hit the first link in the description. Now, after moving into the Out of Control track, I've actually got a piece of instrumental at the very end of the song assigned to my second hot cue right here. And you can see I've already set a loop, and I'm going to go to the save loop pad mode and then press this save loop, and that will turn on the loop that I've got saved on this track. Having this piece of instrumental playing is perfect for scratching in the next track. And the next track is Made You Look by Nas, which begins like this. So that gunshot right there, if I take out the bass, this gunshot is perfect for scratching because it's a long sound and it's the perfect frequency. And also, the beginning of the sound is also good for scratching too. So that's what I'll do. I'll scratch in that track over this instrumental loop of Out of Control. Then I'm going to let Made You Look play. And the next track I load is going to be Southern Hospitality by Ludacris. And again, I've got a piece of instrumental on the second hot cue. So as soon as Nas's first verse comes in here, I'm actually going to stop the instrumental using stems. And then with the vocal playing, I'm going to mix in Southern Hospitality instrumental. So I'm going to make a mashup of Nas Made You Look with Ludacris Southern Hospitality. Then once we get to the chorus section of Nas Made You Look, I'm going to bring all of the stems back, and my next track will be Kiss of Death by Jadakiss. And this actually begins with a very short piece of vocal by Jadakiss, which again is perfect for scratching.
I learned the game, I know what I want in a minute.
Now this track goes directly into Jadakiss's first verse. But what I actually want to do is after I've scratched the vocal, I want to jump straight to the chorus. So what I've done is I've set a second hot cue right at the beginning of the first chorus. So this is how I will drop this track.
Fuck that, pop off.
Straight into the chorus like that. And then my next track is going to be Royce da 5'9", Boom. And this track actually starts with a ticking sample. And again, I've got a piece of instrumental assigned to the second hot cue. And then back to the save loop, pad mode, and then trigger that loop right there. So all of these little things that I'm doing, I can perform them directly from the controller. So at no point do I have to lean over to my laptop and press a button or trigger something. I can do everything directly from my controller. So now with that piece of instrumental playing, the final track is going to be Terror Squad Lean Back, which actually begins with, again, a perfectly scratchable piece of instrumental. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start with the filter turned down to 9 o'clock. And then as I'm performing the transform and crab scratches using the fader, I'm going to bring that filter up all the way to 12 o'clock. Now you're going to notice throughout this mix that I'm going to be doing quite a lot of scratching. But if scratching is new to you, then you could just keep your scratches super simple. So now I've shown you exactly what my process is for picking the tracks, making the transitions, and preparing the tracks. Now let's take a listen to the full performance.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name, my name, my name is Ho. H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OZ. I guess even back then you can call me.
This the real one, baby.
I'm telling you,
Chi-Town stand up. South side, we gon' set this party off right. West side.
I'm a gangster, but y'all knew that. The big boss dog, yeah, I had to do that. I keep a blue flag hanging out my backside, but only on the left side. Yeah, that's the Crip side. Ain't no other way to play the game the way I play. I cut so much you thought I was a DJ. 2, if 1, yep, 3. SC and double OP, equal double G. I can't fake it, just break it. And when I take it, see, I specialize in making all the girls get naked. So bring your friends, all of y'all come inside. We got a world premiere right here, now get live. So don't change the diesel, turn it up a little. I got a living room full of fine dime bristles, waiting on the pistol, the diesel, and the shizzle.
Let's get it all in perspective. For all y'all enjoyment, a song y'all can step with. Y'all appointed me to bring rap justice, but I ain't 5-0, y'all know it's Nas, yo. Grey Goose and a whole lot of hydro. Only describe us as soldier survivors. Stay laced in the best, well dressed with finesse in a white tee, looking for wifey. The girl who fly and talk so nicely. Put her in the coupe so she can feel the nice breeze. We can drive through the city, no doubt, but don't say my car's topless. Say the titties is out, is out, is out, is out, is out, is out.
Fuck that, pop off to nothing in the clip left. Pop off to nobody in this clique left. Hole in the head, slash go to split chest.
If they ask what happened, tell them it's the kiss of death.
Hustle hard till none of them bricks stud left. Stick it up to not a crumb on a strip left. Make sure it ain't a chain or a chip left. Chip left, chip left, chip left, chip left.
Yeah! My niggas, throw your hands in the air right now, man.
Now, if you want to check out more hip hop mix tutorials from me, a DMC champion, then I've got this playlist right here full of mixes that will help you level up in no time.